So actions in GoHighLevel. Basically, this is the automation that happens. So you have your workflow, um, and we explained what workflows were a couple videos back, and then you have your triggers, and the triggers are the events that begin a workflow, and then what the actual workflow is comprised of, all the automations happening, all the automations firing are your actions. Okay, so let's break down each action. Of course, we'll skip a few of these, like affiliates. We'll skip some of these that just don't matter. But let's go through one by one, all the actions, and then some of the details about each one. Okay, so uh, one thing to note before we start going over these individually is that all the actions you can have a lot. Like I think it's 150 is the cap in GoHighLevel, maybe 200. But if you're getting up to that many, whatever the limit is, you might just you might just want to create a new workflow at that point. But you can have as many as you want, and they do happen linearly. So the first action will happen first, and then only once that is successfully completed, it will skip to the second action. And the by me saying only once it's successfully completed will it go on to the next action, it's actually very important because if you put in a manual action, like a manual call, like this, and then you have an automated text like this text will actually not send until this manual action is completed. So one thing to keep in mind is if you guys are putting manual actions, they have to be completed in order for the automation or whatever comes after that to actually fire. Okay, so I guess we don't want to delete these. That said, let's go ahead and start breaking these down. So the lead connector premium actions, these are paid actions. So I don't know the exact cost on every single one of these. You can look it up on GoHighLevel, but it's typically like 1 penny, two pennies, maybe half a penny. They're very cheap, but they will add up. So if you're firing a lot of these, like if you're updating Google Sheets, like if you're adding a row every single time a contact comes in, that could add up. Obviously, Slack interacts with Slack, webhooks, changing the dates, changing the numbers, or ChatGPT. This one's probably actually going to add up very quickly if you're using ChatGPT. So what I would do is I would just connect these with a basic webhook, and then that way you're not paying for it through GoHighLevel. Now, everything else is a free action. So these ones actually don't cost any money to run, and you can run 1,000 of them a second, and it's not going to cost anything. So let's walk through one by one what they are, except some of them, of course, we'll skip because they don't pertain to us at all. But starting at the top, send email. So this is just an email that is going to be sent to the lead. Everything on here is happening with the leads or with whoever you have inside the workflow. It's happening with a contact. So this is done on a contact by contact basis. And sending an email, you'll have to obviously insert some information. And right here, what I would suggest doing is actually putting in custom values right here. So if you have, 15 workflows that are sending 20 emails each, and you need to change where the emails are being sent from, maybe your client changes their email or you change your email and you're sending them from a different email. You don't have to go in and change all 300 workflows or 300 emails. You change them once in the custom values. Let's just pretend this says email. You change them once in the custom values and they'll update for all of the automations throughout all workflows. So definitely anytime you can use custom values, you should, just because it's going to save you so much time in the future if you ever have to change anything. Okay. And you can test this email out and see how it looks once you get it set up. Okay. Next, we're going to have send SMS. This is just a text to the lead. You can call. Now, this is actually an automated call, so it will automatically call the lead for you, and it will also ring the phone you have set up as well. So like it'll actually dial your phone number, and then you'll press a button which will then connect you to the lead. It won't automatically ring the lead. If that doesn't make sense, just test this out. set it up. I'm probably not explaining it perfectly. Um, but an example of how I've used this in the past is that when a new lead comes in, my phone automatically rings. I answer it, I press one, and then it automatically calls the lead. I don't have to sign in to GoHighLevel or anything. It just automatically connects me to the lead. So speed to lead, that obviously speeds things up massively. Voicemail. This is a voicemail drop, so this will call the lead's phone. I'm sure a lot of you have had this happen to on your cell phones. You've gotten a phone call, and then before you can even answer, they hang up, and then you get a voicemail right after. That's what this is. This is just a voicemail drop. Very useful, actually. Messenger is just a Facebook DM, Facebook Messenger, Instagram DM. Manual SMS. So this is actually is that so this is actually a manual action, which means that nothing will happen after this. So if we have something else in here, like an automated, let's not do an email, like an automated text afterwards, the automated text will not send until you go in and actually complete this manual text. So most of the time you're not going to use manual actions, but just take note of that. Okay, where were we? Manual call. So we kind of went over this before. GMB messaging. I've never used this. I don't know how Google sends messages, but I would assume that you are just sending a message through Google. Honestly, guys, I don't know the functionality of this. I've just never used it. Like Google My Business Messenger, but test it out. Of course, if you want to see exactly how it works, I'm gonna kind of skip over it because it's just better to reach out to leads and really to anybody through text and email, but preferably text. It's just I think the V rate's like 97% on text messages. Affiliate, I'm going to skip over these. CRM, so you can add a tag. So if a lead opts in and you want to add a tag, like an opt-in tag, you can do that. We went over tags in the short, quick features, the quick videos. So if you're not sure what tags are, you can go check out that video. You can remove a tag. So maybe a lead books in an appointment. We can actually set up in the workflow to remove the opt-in tag because now they are booked in for an appointment. We could add the appointment book tag. Create/update opportunity. So when a lead comes into, like let's say they fill out a Facebook form, right? A Facebook lead form, or they opt into your form. How do we actually get that lead to show up in the pipeline? That is done with this automation, right? Create or update opportunity. Because remember, every time a lead is in a pipeline, they're considered an opportunity with GoHighLevel lingo. And in order to get that lead in there, we need to tell GoHighLevel to place them in Facebook ads and then place them in the opt-in stage or whatever stage you want to put them in. Opportunity name, I would make sure to just use the contact's full name. Opportunity source, if you want, you can show where the sources come from. This can be useful in case you're using any filters down the road. You can filter what happens to people based on where they came from. I prefer using tags for that, but you can use sources as well. Lead value, this doesn't have any functionality. If you want to look at the pipeline and tell your clients like, yeah, we have $150,000 of leads in the pipeline, you can just mark these at like 1,500, and then if they have 100 people in there, it would be whatever that is, right? Status. So we talked about status earlier. In the triggers, we went over this, I believe. But this is basically, is the lead open, won, or lost, or abandoned? So I would just leave these as open. I would set this to open, and then just leave this. It doesn't really have a whole lot of functionality. The only time this has functionality is if you are creating some kind of workflow based on the status of a lead or based on the status of an opportunity. Okay. Now, what these two mean is that if you allowing an opportunity to move to any previous stage in the pipeline, I would actually check this off. I would always have this checked off just because if a lead opts in and then they go into long-term nurture and then they just kind of they fuck off, they fall out and they don't contact you, but then 6 months down the road, they opt back into the ad, you want them to be able to receive those opt-in messages again, right? I would not allow duplicate opportunities. It causes issues with automation, I found, so I like to keep this turned off. Okay. Adding notes. So this is just adding a note, assigning it to a user. So you can assign these if you're running like if you have VAs managing these, you can assign these to a specific VA. You can assign these to a sales rep. You can basically just assign the person in this workflow, the contact, to a user. You can remove that user. You can set an event start date, adding someone to a workflow. So if you have another workflow and you don't have a trigger for that, you can actually add a lead into a workflow even if it doesn't have a trigger by using this automation, right? You can remove leads from workflows. So this is extraordinarily helpful for like appointments booked. So if you're running an appointment reminder campaign and you want them to stop receiving the opt-in texts and the follow-up texts to try and get them to book an appointment, you can remove them from all those workflows except the appointment reminder workflow that they're currently in. And we'll get into that in the in-depth guides on how to set up appointment reminders. Where were we? Here we are. Yes. Remove opportunity. So this is just removing someone from the pipeline completely. Send internal notification. So when you send an email, let me scroll up. When you send an email or an SMS or a call, this is going directly to the person in the workflow. So this is going to be sent to the leads or to whatever contact sent off the trigger. But when you send an internal notification, if I can find it again, here we are. When you send an internal notification, you could, let's say, for example, you can text a specific user or you can text a custom number. And this custom number could be in your custom values, right? And let's pretend this is like the client's cell phone, and you could let them know, hey, John Doe just booked an appointment for XYZ time on XYZ day. Make sure to send them a selfie video introducing yourself, something like that, right? So this is a way to send text messages. These internal notifications are a way to send text messages to someone other than the contact being run through the workflow. Very useful. Okay. Enable or disable D&D. So you can do this. We'll touch on this a little bit in like the if then or the wait steps down here. But you can obviously enable or disable D&D. Edit conversations. So you can mark conversations as read or unread, or you can archive or unarchive them. I really hope GoHighLevel puts in automatically starring conversations. It looks like they're going to in the future, but we'll see. Sending a review request. So you can do this through GoHighLevel, I guess. I've always built out these review campaigns myself. What I do is, and we'll have a video on this in the in-depth guide on how to build out a review campaign. But I like to just build out that workflow myself, and then I add the leads to the review campaign workflow instead of just having GoHighLevel send them a review request. I just like having extra control and building out the workflow with the follow-up text exactly how I like it. You can charge people through Stripe. So if you're tracking show ups, and again, we'll have a video in the in-depth guide on how to track show and no show. But if a lead gets marked as a show up, you can automatically charge your client. The only thing you're going to need is their information on Stripe, their customer ID. So if they paid you a setup fee, you're going to have all this. And then you can automatically charge them for that show up for whatever set amount you place in here. See if it'll load. Cool. So yeah, you just need the customer ID. You can put the description there, and then you can charge them whatever you want. And of course, just select the currency. Yep. Here we are. You can update the appointment status, so confirmed, unconfirmed, show, no show, right? You can add tasks, so adding a manual task. These are like little like reminders. Hey, call this lead at XYZ time. AI appointment booking bot. I have not used this uh, that much. I've tested it out. I did not like it personally. Some other people like it. I think ChatGPT works a lot better. I just don't like the AI stuff at all. I just don't think it seems natural. It doesn't seem human, and my conversion rates have always been a lot better when I've just had VAs doing it or when I've just done it myself and made things seem much more organic. However, if you want to test this out, you can. Um, and basically, what this does is you have to upgrade to the 497 plan, or if you're on my GoHighLevel, you'll get this for free without having to do the 497 plan. But this will basically just nurture your leads for you and try to get them to book in an appointment. Okay. Send to Eliza agent platform. We're gonna skip this. We're gonna skip these as well. Updating contact field. You're really never going to use this unless you have a very specific use case, but this is just like changing their phone number or email or something like that. Um, Facebook stuff. This is pretty self-explanatory. Updating a custom value. I have never automatically updated a custom value. I would be a little nervous to do that just because it can, if you update a custom value that is placed in a lot of different things, you're changing so much. If you do update a custom value, I would just set up a notification to yourself so that you know a custom value changed. We're going to skip memberships, and then these are conditions. So let's talk about these a little bit. If else is this is how you create basically a like a fork in the road, a tree. So you can say click trigger link. This is just an example. Or oh, I guess we have to do this. Contact details. We should be able to find it in here, right? Let me pause this and find it. Okay, because this is a sample workflow, I just paused the video and was playing around with it. But because this is a sample workflow, I'm missing some things. So we can't use trigger links for an example, but we'll just pretend that we want to send a different text on the weekend and send a different text. Let's see, current day of week is not Sunday, and let's see here. Time current day of week is not Saturday. Was there a weekend one? That's fine. Okay. And then this is weekend. Okay. Current day of week is weekday. Okay. So now we can have different, we can send out a different workflow or we can have different actions if it is not the weekend or if it is the weekend. I don't know why you would do that, but you can. And you can obviously set these up for a lot of different things. I'm just missing a lot of data or missing a lot of required actions, so I can't necessarily set everything up and show you an example for everything. But if you wanted to create these if-thens, that's how you would do it. Now, I do want to say that when you're creating these if-then events, if a lead or a contact moves down this side of the, let's just call it a funnel, then they will not move through these at all unless you put an event. Let me scroll down. You tell the workflow when it's done, it goes back up to this condition. So let's do this, right? So you send an SMS. I don't know, happy Monday, whatever. And once this text is sent, it goes back up here. And then if it is the weekend, or if it's not the weekend, it'll come back down, right? And you can, we can actually just create these electrons from here, right? And we can do it both ways. One thing to note though is that if you guys are doing this, it will just infinitely loop and it will continuously send these texts over and over and over, which might be why this is warning us. No, it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, this will continuously send over and over and over. So you might want to put in a wait time, which is another action we were going to cover. So you might want to tell this to wait like 6 days or whatever it is, right? But this is what the wait time is. And while we're in here, let me actually cancel this. Let's delete these. And let's scroll down and talk about the wait time. Okay. Now, you can have it wait for a few different things. It can wait for a time. It could wait for certain things to happen. You could wait and see if a contact clicks on a trigger link or not. So we can hit trigger link, and then we can select, let's see if they click on the review, and we can have GoHighLevel wait 24 hours, right? So what will happen here is, now let's send an SMS. Let's do this. Okay. Actually, let's use the if then, or if else. Okay. Oops. Events, trigger link. There we are. Okay. So now, now we're going to tell this workflow to wait up to 24 hours for the link to be clicked, right? And what we can do is we can actually send a follow-up text here. I'll actually have a video on exactly how to do this. I do just want to touch on it now, just very, very briefly. So what this wait timer is we're telling GoHighLevel, hey, once this lead, if the lead clicks on this link, then move them over into this condition, and then the condition is telling them to move them here, and we're just going to remove them from the workflow. Or if it's been 24 hours and the lead has not clicked on the link, then move them over to this condition, and because they're not clicked, we're going to send them a text, maybe sending them the trigger link again, saying, hey, just following up on my last text, can you please leave us a review? Whatever it is, right? And webhook is the last one. We touched on GoTo. So now let's talk about webhooks, and then that will finish up this section of the course. So webhooks, if you are using Zapier or if you're using Pabbly, which is just like a knockoff of Zapier, really cheap alternative, by the way. If you guys are like getting killed on Zapier costs, check out Pabbly, just Pabbly. I'll try and drop it in the resources section. But using webhooks is basically just a really good way to link it up with any external softwares, so that you can use Zapier or Pabbly to connect GoHighLevel to something else. So that's actions. When you're done with workflows, make sure you publish them if you're ready to go. If you want to test workflows, you'll need a contact in here. So you can just select the contact, and then you can run the test, and it will run them through all this. If you are running the test, you can actually come into, it's either enrollment history or execution logs. I think it's execution logs. And if the leads are on, let's say they're like stuck in this wait time, all right, and you don't want to wait 24 hours to test these out, what you can do is just hit, there's an override button over here, and it will force the lead to move into, regardless of the wait, it will force them to move on to the next step, so that you can continue testing your workflow. And you can do that with like real leads as well. If the lead is stuck somewhere and you just want them to move past it, you can go in and force them to move to the next step in the workflow. But just a quick recap. I know we touched on a lot. I know this is kind of a long video, but actions happen linearly. So if this action is not completed, it will not move on to the next. Wait steps. can be done with a few different things. They can be done with time-based events or CRM-based events. And the if-thens are a good way to have some conditional logic built into these actions and start to split off the workflows into multiple different paths. And then finally, if you want to loop a workflow back into itself, you can use these go-to actions, and they will. You can actually go all the way back up to the top, but you can really loop the lead back up anywhere. Just be careful to not send them through an infinite loop and have some wait steps in there that prevent leads from just getting text after text after text after text, obviously, right? And that's why you would test out your workflows.